Blair from Manpower is stopping by, and he's got some great advice on what you need to know if you're sitting down for a job interview as far as those first impressions, and also non-verbal communication and how extremely important it is in nailing the interview.
You mean like rolling your eyes, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, don't do that.
This is Good Morning San Diego.
So many people are looking for work, and once you land that all-important interview, there are some things that you really have to do to make a good first impression. So Phil Blair from Manpower is here to tell us. Phil, you've said it before, sometimes what you don't say is just as important as what you do say.
It is, and it's this body language, and we're communicating in ways that we may not be aware of and may not be very pleased with.
Okay, so what's the first thing that you recommend? Because most of the time when you go into an interview, you're nervous, and you might be doing things that are out of habit. You don't even mean to be doing them.
Like nodding like I'm doing right now as a habit,
weird.
And you don't realize that I'm agreeing with you, and it's like, okay, stop. The other thing is you get nervous and you stare.
Oh.
Making eye contact is a good thing.
Yeah.
Staring, not such a good thing, because it's really creepy for us.
Okay.
And you don't realize you're doing it. A glance away, a glance down, and then back up is fine, but don't stare. The other thing is body language. You tie yourself in a knot because you're so uncomfortable and you don't realize you're doing this, and you're leaning away from us, and we're going like, whoa, you're gonna fall out of the chair backwards. and we're not having a good, comfortable conversation here, are we, if you're all like this?
Crossing your arms basically means I'm closed off.
Yeah.
I'm not open to this conversation.
I'm fighting you off, sort of thing, and I feel endangered.
Okay.
Right? Okay, not a good thing. We're going to work together.
Okay.
We're going to be friends, right? Hopefully. That's not a good way to start us out.
Okay, so what do you sit down in that chair? What's the first thing you should notice about your own body?
Well, start with the handshake. And usually the interviewer will come out and get you, in the lobby or wherever, especially women. A dead fish is a terrible turnoff for us. And the opposite of breaking our hand to prove you're not a dead fish is another thing. Eye contact, nice to meet you, Mr. Blair. My name is Jane Smith. And then go from there. But that's our first impression. And on the show, we've talked about first impressions. What's that handshake? So don't try to prove how strong and brave you are by crushing our hand, but also show us you have some meaning and some eye contact. So those are sort of the key issues to watch for.
And then throughout the interview, you keep eye contact, as you mentioned. What do you do with your hands? I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands. I would never cross them.
We have to have a lot of room between us so hands can move.
But is that okay, or is that weird, too?
Well, it is. I have a friend who is overly demonstrative and keeps going like this. The bigger issues are, and you're like, whoa, bring it down, bring it down. And it shows you're emphatic, it shows you care, it shows you're involved in the issue. So you want to show that. You want to show animation, you want to show personality, you want to show that you're a person that has talents that I need. Now remember, it's not what you want in the job, it's what I want done in the job and how you're going to meet my needs. One of those is to be a comfortable person for me to talk to in an interaction. And if you're all tied in a knot because of body language, I'm reading all these things that you're doing.
And is there any way that we can practice ahead of time just to see if there are certain little nuances or habits that we need to break?
Well, I tell you, meeting strangers is very awkward for a lot of people, and that's typically what an interview is about. I tell people once a day, every day, start a conversation with a complete stranger.
Okay.
Now that sounds a little strange, doesn't it? The example I give is you're standing in line at a grocery checkout line, right? Lots of stuff to talk about. Those newspapers are there and the candies and all that sort of stuff. And it's very easy because the person in front of you is bored and the one behind you is bored too. Start a little conversation. You'll see how easy it really is and how people are anxious to talk to you. And that sort of eases you into talking to strangers if you make a habit of making a little chit-chat with people, which is how an interview starts.
Just chit-chat.
Just getting to know each other.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Great suggestion.
Yeah, so watch those things because we are watching them.
All right. You're always watching, aren't you?
I got my radar out at all times.
Okay, thanks, Phil. See you next week.